3, The Rampage. The house was quiet when he left the hospital. Too quiet. He didn't even turn the lights on. The hunting knife sat on the table where he'd left it last season, gleaming in the moonlight that leaked through the blinds. The gun, black steel, heavy in his hands, was pulled from its lockbox with reverence, almost ceremony. He loaded it slow, round after round, the clicks echoing like the beating of a war drum. When the magazine slammed home, he felt his chest tighten. Not fear, but inevitability. The hoodie came last, black, loose, the fabric smelling faintly of dust and engine oil. He pulled it on and felt himself slip away. Not the man who worked odd jobs, not the man who sat in bleachers for his son's basketball games. That man had died in the hospital, teary-eyed, watching his boy hooked to tubes and machines. What remained now was something colder, something with purpose. He walked the last half mile, didn't want the sound of his truck to warn them. The night air was damp, heavy, carrying the stink of beer and weed before he even saw the house. And then it loomed, an old rancher on the edge of town but alive with chaos. Cars crowded the yard, their chrome winking under porch lights. Music thudded from inside, bass rattling the windows. Shadows moved on the lawn, men laughing too loud, bottles clinking. He stopped at the tree line, drew a slow breath. His hand brushed the knife's hilt. Hunter, prey, simple as that. One of them broke from the group, staggering to the side to take a piss. The father slipped from the dark, silent as a shadow. One hand over the man's mouth, the knife flashing upward, slicing deep across his throat. Hot blood sprayed, painting the grass. The man's legs kicked weakly, then folded. The father lowered him to the ground like putting a child to bed. One down. He dragged the body into the shadows, wiped the blade against his jeans, and moved again. Two more sat on the porch steps, arguing about women. A third leaned against the railing, smoking. None of them saw him until it was too late. The silenced pistol coughed 3 times. 3 heads snapped back, red mist spraying under porch light. They collapsed almost on top of each other like puppets with cut strings. The door guard barely had time to blink, knife between the ribs, twist, gone. He left the body sprawled, stepped over them, and pushed the door open. The smell hit him first. Weed, sweat, spilled liquor, and underneath it all, rot. The living room swarmed with gang members, most too drunk to register the shadow moving among them until the first gunshot cracked. Chaos erupted. Men scrambled for weapons, for cover, too slow. The father moved room to room, methodical, precise. One shot to the chest, one to the head. A knife flashed in close quarters, burying into flesh, ripping across throats. His face was splattered with gore, his hoodie clinging to him with blood and sweat. Every scream, every gurgle, every gasping plea for mercy was answered with silence. Glass shattered. Bodies slammed against walls. The gun barked until the slide locked back empty. He reloaded without thinking, hands working on instinct, adrenaline drowning out the pain tearing through his side where a stray round had grazed him. The house became a slaughterhouse. Down the hall, a door opened. The bully's father stepped out, dragging his son in front of him like a shield. The boy's eyes were wide, wet with tears, his knees buckling under the grip around his chest. The father froze, gun steady but heavy in his hand. "You made a mistake coming here," the bully's father snarled, his grin wide, his own pistol pressed against his boy's head. "You think you can walk into my house, kill my men, and live?" The father's voice was low, ragged. "You threatened my son. And I'll bury him." The man spat, tightening his hold. "Just like I'll bury you tonight." For a long moment, no one moved. The boy whimpered, piss darkening the front of his jeans. The father's vision blurred from blood loss, but his aim stayed locked. Then 2 shots, quick, brutal. The bully's father jerked as the rounds punched through his chest. His mouth opened in shock before blood poured out. He crumpled backward, dragging his son down with him. The boy scrambled free, crawling across the floor, sobbing. The father staggered forward, towering over him. He knelt, grabbed the kid's collar, forcing the boy's tear-streaked face up toward his own. His words were a growl through blood and smoke. "Don't grow into him." He shoved the boy aside and turned away, his body trembling, his breath ragged. Then he heard it, a sound that didn't belong in all this ruin, high, desperate, muffled. Screams. He followed them to a locked door, kicked it open, stumbled down the stairs, and there they were, 2 women, bruised, broken, locked inside rusted dog cages. Their eyes widened in terror at the sight of him, covered in blood, gun in hand. "Please, yo," one shrieked, clawing at the bars. "Don't leave us here." He crouched, stared at the padlocks, at their skeletal fingers reaching for him. His jaw clenched. His body trembled. Not from fear, but from the enormity of what he'd done. What he was still doing. The women begged, cried, promised anything. But he didn't move for the locks. Didn't smash the cages, and instead he let the gun sag in his lap and whispered, barely audible, "I can't. Not tonight." Their screams followed him as he dragged himself up the stairs. The sound burned into his skull. Outside, the night air hit him like ice. His wounds screamed, every step a battle. He lowered himself onto the porch steps, blood dripping onto the wood, his hoodie soaked through. A dead man's cigar stuck out of a jacket pocket. He pulled it free, lit it with shaking hands, and took a long drag. The smoke curled around him, bitter, heavy as sirens wailed in the distance. He leaned back against the railing, staring into the dark, waiting. The screams from the basement were gone. All that remained was the smell of blood, the echo of gunfire, and the knowledge that he'd carried his duty as far as it could go.
We appreciate you taking the time to experience our stories. Every view, like, comment, and share helps keep this dream alive. At JC Storyteller LLC, we're dedicated to crafting emotional, powerful, and unforgettable narratives that connect with real people. If this story touched you, inspired you, or made you think, please consider subscribing and joining our growing community of story lovers. Your support means the world. Thank you for being part of the journey.